they would like to do with, as they see fit. But I think, as a PR issue, it doesn't look good.
So I'm walking along Derbyshire's only Roman road, Ryknild Street, sometimes spelled Ryknild Street. Heads up from Gloucestershire up to South Yorkshire. Most of it today is unfortunately covered by the modern rubbish of modern roads and housing estates, well, most of the modern road network. But this section isn't, and it's pretty wonderful. On a ridge here, which I hope you're picking up. It's obviously, Roman roads have quite a strong hold on the imagination, but it's quite easy to picture this, isn't it? I think seems a obvious route of travel, especially as we get further. You'll see that that's quite often in those days. Even the Romans weren't going to start draining every bit of wetland in Britain, obviously. So, they would keep to the high ground, I suppose, a lot of the time to avoid, or some of the time, especially going into northern England like this, they would, to avoid the boggy areas. It's a wonderful bit of country here. I walked this the other day before I thought I'd make a video of it, and its kind of surprising beauty was one of the reasons I thought I should come back and make a video. I'm really drawn to use a somewhat potentially pretentious term, liminal land. I don't know if you're... Yeah, I'm going to switch the camera. Yeah, I don't know if you're familiar with that term. It's no reason to me. It's quite a niche term, but it's liminal. It's kind of like edgelands, and not one thing another, occupying two worlds, I suppose is a better way of putting it. And I think this area is. Let me see. I don't know if this will work. I think I'll switch the camera again. Apologies for this. So, just over to the west there, pretty much that, the ridge of the hills. Not quite there actually, but I mean, you're within, really, you're literally within a stone's throw. Certainly there, that's where we can see, and it's a Peak District, sorry. So it's, after a few decades of it being a national park, with everything that's come from that, it is picturesque in inverted commas. Most things have been tidied up. You've got you know, the farms look nice, you know. They probably get a lot of extra benefits, I imagine. The villages have become wealthier, you know, and all the stricter controls, which is, I think, probably a good thing. Now here, what we're walking through, and also there, I'd say that's like northern England. Now here is, I mean, I would say it's still very pretty bit of landscape, but it's not going to draw anyone here other than local dog walkers. You know, you can, I don't know if you can hear on this video, but there's a hum of the A38 over there. You know, Ripley is just a dog's walk over those fields, really. Alfreton also, so it's on the edge of the urban sprawl of the East Midlands. And the countryside reflects that. But I kind of find that sometimes it makes these places even, I don't know, more interesting and, I don't know, more beautiful. Maybe that's a wrong word to use. Certainly of more interest to me anyway, because it comes as a surprise, I suppose. Okay, so yeah, it's fantastic to be able to walk this. So I've googled a little bit, you know, no great revelations there, just what I found on the internet about Ryknild Street. Is most people seem to believe that the root word comes from the Iceni. Don't know if I'm pronouncing that tribe correctly. The famous tribe who are led by Boudicca, as I was taught, but Boudica these days, isn't it? But I think at least there's some confusion, because there's another Ryknild way, because the Iceni tribe, if you look on, you know, the internet, they're in East Anglia. This route, which goes from Gloucestershire, just undo this, Gloucestershire up to South Yorkshire, doesn't really go into that word at all. And there's another Ryknild Roman road over there, but that's the Ryknild way. So I don't know. It's obviously part of a very thorough transportation network, because this linked into the Foss Way in Gloucestershire, I read, and then, you know, obviously there weren't dead ends, it's all a transportation network. Up here, where we're walking to, you're starting to see the ridge become more evident now. That over there is Alfreton. So going towards like North Derbyshire there, really. Not quite sure where the boundary is between South and North Derbyshire. It's probably about here. The farm up there is called Coney Grey Farm, which I think is a brilliant name. Could be farming Watership Down. Coney Grey, big old farm. And I've read in the archaeological records of the digs in these areas that the owner of that farm had quite a lot of the Roman remains that's been found in this locale. Nothing too valuable, I don't think, but I'm sure of great interest. Roman pot shards. I always seem to spell that really weird. It's like P-O-T-S-H-E-R-D-S as one word. I don't know why they do that. Shards of pottery and other bits and bats. Nothing great, nothing of great value, but of great antiquity. The fortlet, which is a lovely word for a small fort, a fortlet, a piglet, a fortlet, that we're heading to is 1st century AD. So I was a little bit surprised by that when I read it, because, you know, that's, you know, very early in Roman occupation. Apparently, I'm not too sure anyone's very sure on these things. It's just by the size of it and the locale and the lack of written record, I think. So, you know, you can make reasonable conjectures. Apparently, you don't think it was permanently occupied, because it's not really referred to much maybe a transitory, you know, temporary camp used at times. But when I walked this the other day, it just seemed such a, as they often are, such a fantastic natural location for a fort, really commanding. Now, on the modern Ordnance Survey maps, the hill that it's placed on is called Castle Hill. I've not been able to find any record to castles. Would have been a good location for one, I'm not much sure. But I wonder also, it might be potentially a folk memory, or people were aware that there's a Roman fort and then, you know, use the word castle, and so the Ordnance Survey map just references people's knowledge of this Roman fort. Fascinating map names, they echoes of history. A bit like this Roman road, eh? Whispers on the wind. For imaginative people with an active imagination like me. Can't help but think, you know, and it's true, isn't it? I know it's a bit, what's the word, fanciful, but this is a Roman road 2,000 years ago. You know, the people who walked along this, right? Carthaginians and Iberians and, I don't know, Nubians and all kinds of people. And they marched really quick. You know, all the gear marched about 4 miles an hour, I think, something like that, which is a hell of a trot. I averaged over 20 miles a day, you know, shifted. Sun's setting over there. Coming towards the farm. I'll turn it off for a moment. It won't be long though, it's not a long walk. Big farm this. Dairy farm. There's another busy road down there, so it's hemmed in a little bit. People have speculated about why, you know, why there's obviously most of the Roman roads use a modern road network, but this one isn't, and there's obviously sections around the country that aren't, and so someone speculated about why that would be the case, because why did people stop using it? Who knows? Oh, I'm just looking on that telegraph wire. Oh, I thought for a second it was going to be a really late swallow or something, but no, it weren't. Can't quite see that actually. I don't know if it's sun's right behind it. Looked a bit like a yellow hammer, but I don't know. I think it would be. Well, this farm's quite ugly, but this house is lovely. Holly tree starting to show red now. Ooh. I know lots of people don't, at least I assume so, from the moaning I hear all the time, but I love seasons. I love the summer, don't get me wrong, but I love the change, and I just find it really exciting. I love kind of you know, being in autumn now and seeing the holly going red and what's to come, all the change, all the weather that's going to come. It's going to get darker and darker, and storms and the frost. Love it. This year, I think it's been nationwide round here, and I was just looking at those big fat berries on the holly tree, and I think they're similar. Most of the local crops, like as in autumnal fruits and nuts, are so, what's the word, bountiful. Like look at this ridge now, fantastic. And you can see this earthwork here. I think they call it an agar, like the raised platform of a Roman road. I mean, I don't know. Was it an earthwork connected to the fort? This is Castle Hill coming up ahead. Yeah, just for me to keep on whittering about what I was saying. Yeah, the acorns. Absolutely, I've never seen a better crop of acorns or cobnuts or damsons. Massive. Loads of them. I'd say the only one really, only noticeable one I thought was blackbirds. I thought they were pretty poor. Came early and the load looked really shriveled for most of them. But anyway, all those things, you know, if you look on old weather law, I like all that stuff. All points to a really cold winter. Obviously, how much store you want to put in that, I don't know, but I hope it's true. Days of blizzards and ice, I love all that stuff. Anyway, like an old-fashioned winter would be brilliant for me. Right, so yeah, as you can see, pretty stunning spot really, and no one's going to come up here. One of those places that, I don't know, I feel like sometimes people are a bit, what's the word? I suppose we all are, people are a bit unimaginative really. I suppose we're all guilty of that, is that people will go to an area because it's scenic, you know, scenic in apostrophes, and those places will be, and I think that's accelerated with like TikTok and all that stuff. People will just go to places that have a stamp of approval by other people really, and not many people seem to make their own minds up, because it's beautiful around here. I mean, not just here, but all around here. And I don't know, I kind of think most people, a lot of the walkers around here will just be driving off and they're sat in the cars going other places, and I don't know, I suppose we're all like that, aren't we? But I was walking through Manchester this weekend, and there's loads of places open, but then there were some places which just had massive queues, and don't get me wrong, they're probably alright, but I don't know, I'd say social media's accelerated it, and people just want to copy other people, don't they, rather than experience things for themselves. Anyway, here's a path. Sorry, that turned into a bit of a rant. Here's a path, and it goes off, veers off down there. It's quite a steep hill here. I don't know if it's going to come out. Right, this bit is quite exciting. I was quite excited about this. So this is Castle Hill. Lovely woodland just there. And you start. Then when I was walking along here, obviously I started to look for signs of the Roman fortlet. I was wondering how obvious it would be. I don't know how well it'll come out on this. Now, it's my naked eye. I think it's just coming on the phone here now. Can I see quite a bowl? And that's it. That's pretty good, isn't it? It's more than I was expecting. Quite big. Don't quite know what the category of a fortlet is. When a fortlet stops being a fortlet and grows up to be a fort. And then past it there's another little thing as well. I reckon it'd be one of these that'd be so visible from the air, you could just map it out. I'm always interested in, like, when you see these records of digs, and they're quite sparse a lot of the time. There was one, seemed to be a really amateurish dig in 1909, which just seemed like, as you'd expect, a few amateurs bumbling around. And they did a bit of something. There was something in the 50s. But there doesn't seem to be much else apart from that. So you kind of think there'd be potential for someone to do a proper job here. And they did establish this to be Roman. There didn't seem to be any doubt about it. They found typical Roman kind of foundations underneath, and pot shards and figures, Roman figurines. Some of them in the Derby Museum. Surely some of them found their way into private hands, and the farmer over there and stuff. There's a wood there now, so obviously it doesn't seem obvious for it to continue. On the map it doesn't seem too obvious either where it went now, because whatever way it went, maybe it could have veered down there. Whatever way it went anyway, there's quite a steep hill here, so I don't know how averse Romans were to doing that with their roads. I think pretty averse really, like to grade things, didn't they? So a little look at the map. Okay, I showed you this earlier. So we started at Pentrich, interesting place. I did a previous video. Here, Castle Hill. Yeah, and then just past it I noticed actually, there's David's Hill. And over here is Wingfield Manor. Anyway, I suppose like anywhere in the country, so many places of interest, aren't there, when you're in the landscape? Everywhere in this country has been settled for so long, there's not many places without a story to tell. But this one hasn't been told too much, I don't think. Seems quite a secretive spot. I'll head back now. What a lovely little spot. And that farm. I wonder how long that family's been there for. Hemmed in by the modern world, but to an extent, but I don't know, still managed to be off the beaten track a little bit, I think. I reckon it'd be a good hare country around here. I bet there's hares somewhere. Big open fields up there. Right, I might show you the walk into the village of Pentrich, but that's it. Hope you found that of interest. All my followers, mostly Alf and his mates. Anyway, hope if you're watching this and you enjoyed it, you're doing alright. I'll see you. Bye.